about this? Look, Simon Diamond, who years later would go on to be a mover and a shaker behind the scenes for Impact. Here he is in his ECW prime.
What the fuck?
This is a ring announcer who I guess is being brought out specifically for Simon Diamond. And I like the look. Tuxedo, white gloves. He's getting his Mickey Mouse on.
Yeah.
See,
Simon Diamond.
This is not the glory days of ECW, you know, just
no.
And I'm not disparaging at all, but I'm saying when you think of ECW originals, a lot of those guys had moved on by here. Taz is gone. Well, a lot of guys, you know, the Eliminators are no longer. Just a lot of the stuff that you sort of hung your hat on. This is ECW. It's not. It's now second generation, a new crop of guys. And I was actually a fan of the Simon Diamond gimmick. I'm just saying, you know, back in the day, this would have been, you know, Rob Van Dam and Chris Candido in the second match. And here we go. I know you would love this. Danny Doring with Elektra, who we've recently talked about here on the show, and his tag team partner, of course, Amish Roadkill. And he would always fashion his hands as if he was twisting the neck of a chicken, and he would say chickens because he chokes the chicken.
Sure, a lot of guys choke the chicken to her.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, like $20 lap dance at a time. Hey, how many lap dances do you think you've had in your life?
Me, I don't think I've had one.
Really?
Yeah. Look, we've gone over this before. I don't like strip clubs. And I know what your response would be. You just haven't been to the right ones.
No, I didn't say that at all. It's just weird that you'll just get on here with your damn tongue hanging out on a girl with, you know, a dress on. But then when it's like, well, she'll take that off for $20. You're like, nah, I'm good. Because in this case, she was actually a dancer. So it was a good shot. You could have went and seen her no-nos. And you're like, nah, I'm good.
Well, you want to see more than just her no-nos, don't you?
What do you want to see?
Don't you want to see a cooter now and then?
Well, I mean, when I said no, I meant upstairs, downstairs.
Oh, got it. All right. I thought you meant no. The left no and the right no would be no-nos.
You know, at my house, no is referred to as one spot.
Ah, okay.
The other spot is referred to as yes. I knew I'd get you on that one.
That may have been one of the greatest ad libs we've had in a long time. Wow. That was good shit, man.
Check out what we're looking at right here. I got Nova and in tow with him. I mean, isn't this a fun look here?
Yeah.
There's Jazz. So it's going to be Simon Diamond, Danny Doring, and Roadkill versus Jazz, Nova, and Kid Kash. But somehow it's going to wind up being a tag match with Doring and Roadkill taking on Nova and Chris Chetty, who's not out yet.
This is like, look at this fucker. This is like just, fucking nuttiness. And you know, I get it. You look at this, you say there's no Taz, right? Is Rob Van Dam on this show?
Of course he is.
Okay. But I was saying, like, it's kind of like WCW without Ric Flair. You know, it's kind of like WCW with, I don't know.
Well, here's what they got going for him. New Jack is an ECW original, and he's here, not as part of the Gangstas, but in singles action. Rob Van Dam are both here. Tommy Dreamer and Raven are here, and Mike Awesome is here, but without Terry Funk, without Shane Douglas, without the Eliminators, without Taz, it does start to feel a little different. There's a bunch of others too, but just off the top of my head, no Dudley Boyz, no Taz, no Shane Douglas. I mean, the company, from when they first got hot, say in 95 to when they made their pay-per-view debut in 97. And now here, Bam Bam Bigelow was a former world champ a couple years prior to this, and he's gone too. Just a lot of those guys have gone to greener pastures, and the ECW faithful would chant at them, "You sold out," and sort of get shitty with them. But the reality is a lot of these guys at this point aren't even getting paid. Things are tough in ECW, and they will eventually get paid, but they're being slow rolled on their payroll. So a guy like Shane Douglas, when he leaves, he's owed more than 6 figures and just can't afford to stay there anymore. And I don't think that's a bad thing for a guy saying, "Hey, I love wrestling and I love this promotion and I love this locker room, but you know what? I love my kids more. I got to go get some money for them."
Yeah. You being the businessman that you are, and there's been many books written on the death of WCW, and I think there's many variables that go into that. Is this a Kid Rock wannabe here, Kid Kash? I get it. Kash, Kid Rock.
But you've seen him before and you were very impressed with him. We just recently saw him in action on another show, and you were really impressed. So stay tuned.
I'll be really impressed again. So, but my question is, why didn't ECW work?
Yeah, I think they probably grew too fast. Paul had big aspirations. You see the show is sponsored by, and it's even really big on the ring canvas here, that they've got a video game, and they got a video game with Acclaim. But here's the trouble. The video game is one of the all-time worst wrestling games ever. I mean, horrific. So fans just weren't with it. And, then they were in a race to have action figures, and, they did okay, but they didn't do such gangbuster business that they ever tried to do them again. And, they just, and by the time they tipped their toe in the pay-per-view waters, they were probably a little too early for that too, because as you recall, in this era, you would run a pay-per-view and, you would have an idea of a preliminary buy number, but that doesn't mean that everybody paid their bill right then, because the pay-per-view companies would wait and pay the creator once they had collected all of the money from the subscriber. So if I click the button at my house to order this pay-per-view for $35, but then I slow roll paying my cable system bill and I don't pay it for 2 months, then maybe 2 months after that is when ECW would get a check. So it could be 4 to 6 months later before they get paid. Now, a lot of people listening will say, well, what's the big deal? But there are real production costs with putting on a pay-per-view show. So you've got to, pay for the satellite time. You've got to get the truck there. You've got to have lots of additional added layers to put on a live pay-per-view, in addition to the marketing and things like that. Well, most people would say, okay, well, just use that money from the live gate in order to pay those costs. And if you do, by the way, there's no money left to pay the boys. So the reason a lot of the guys started to get behind is because ECW started to get more successful. And I know that doesn't sound like that makes any logical sense, but if you have to pay for the expense of being on pay-per-view up front, and then you don't actually get any of that revenue for 4 to 6 months later, then some of these guys' checks are going to be delayed. And in the meantime, by the way, in order to compete with the WWF and WCW, you've got to run a touring schedule that really all the time wouldn't make sense. So they would get everybody, trains, planes, and automobiles, however they got them, to a remote location for a house show. And if 800 people are there, they probably lost money to run it. But if they didn't, at least on paper, offer the boys the opportunity to earn that payday, then they would go look to secure other employment. So you sort of lived and died by, I've just got to get to the next sellout, or I've just got to get to the next pay-per-view. And they started to come in with all these other ideas of income, like, man, this video game, if this just does, 25% of what a WWE game does, will be great. But then the game sucks. Man, these action figures, if we can get, just 10% of what the WWF does on these, this will be great. but then the figures aren't in all the stores. And so it just becomes one of those, we're trying to do what we can to come up with any sort of little extra stream of income. And for whatever reason, it's not a home run. By the way, that is Big Dick Hurts that you just saw. Oh, not catch Kid Kash and let him take a flat back on the goddamn concrete.
Big Dick Hurts, one of my favorite ring names. So basically, kind of what you're saying is it's like many companies have. It's a cash flow problem, basically, and
that's not to say that they couldn't afford to do it. They could on paper, but they didn't have a bankroll to just float them till the next show.
Right.
If Paulie had a traditional line of credit, maybe that would have worked. I mean, we know eventually he would get one. He certainly could go borrow money from Vince McMahon when he needed it. But realistically, making it work and making it a profitable business are two different things. Paulie was very successful in making sure they got to the next show because he had to do whatever he could do to get to the next show.
Right.
But to say ECW was this wildly profitable venture was just not true. But that's been true for every wrestling promotion in the history of America. They've all went out of business except one, WWE. And I know AEW's here now, and we hope AEW's here to stay forever. And people have predicted the doom of a company like Impact, since year one, since 2002. And yet here they are still plugging along. But Impact has not been wildly profitable. I mean, last year at different times, 3,000 people were watching them on TV when they were on the outdoor station, like 3,000 viewers. That's it. So obviously they've turned that around. They've got a much better cable deal now, but it does feel like they're sort of kind of starting over again.
Yeah. And I like it that they're there. And I've said this many times because I think guys who come out here, like we're seeing right now, years ago, and even now into here in 2020, guys who come out and ladies who come out and put their lives on the line and their health and all these crazy bumps need a place to be able to make money. And that's why I think it's very important that not only WWE prosper, but AEW prospers and Impact and what other promotion would be out there.
No, I'm with it. I feel the same way. I'm a big fan of giving guys opportunities. And yeah, that's one of the things that I hate to see as a wrestling fan is when guys sort of online pile on AEW for something they didn't like, or perhaps they even pile on NXT. And with NXT, since it's WWE owned, I get it, but I don't want to beat up on a developmental talent in NXT. Like, let's give them a chance to sort of get their feet underneath them. And by the way, they usually have some of the best wrestling on TV. But with AEW, for instance, the guys who, are hardcore WWE loyalists and just get online and go, LOL AEW. It's just weird to me because why would you want, if you're a wrestling fan, why would you want there to be less places for someone to work? Why would you want there to be less wrestling?
I kind of understand these people because let me tell you why. If you listen to us right now, if you're one of those people and you're listening to us that you just shit on everything, okay, here's the test. And the test is very simple. Walk to the mirror right now, look at yourself in the mirror, okay? And if you see a piece of shit looking back at you, then you know you're one of those people. It's a very simple test.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't realize you're a piece of shit, but then read some of the stuff you post online. And you'll say, oh, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. So I do understand. Who the hell is this?
Oh, that's Chris Chetty. That's Taz's cousin.
Okay.
He's begging to be Nova's tag team partner here.
Okay.
What do you think of Chris Chetty's look? I feel like this is, like a Halloween costume you wore back in '79 when you were trying to pick up Lois.
Yeah, it does look like from the disco era, doesn't it? Kind of. Or it looks like, give me something to make me look like a poor man's Ric Flair.
Realistically, why do you think guys, I guess this is not just wrestling fans. It does feel like in society these days, we root for people's downfall. I feel like there's low key a lot of people who really want AEW to fail. And I just think that's weird. Like, how does that help anybody? How's that better for literally anybody?
Well, you do have to realize that some of those people are, it's kind of like reviews, that you go online and you look at reviews, and I'm going to use this one. I mean, I know there's the Yellow Pages online now. I guess they're still out there, and there's Yelp. You can't really believe some of these reviews, you know? In other words, if you got two restaurants that are restaurants, sorry about that. You have two restaurants that are competing, and you have one restaurant go online and give the other restaurant bad reviews, only to hurt their business. So I feel that it has real, well, hang on a second. My attention span has wandered away. In other words, I think that some of the things that you see online, some of the, wow, holy shit. That's where I want to be right now. Some of the things you see online are phony. Is it? Don't you think that's true?
What do you mean in terms of, like bots or whatever?
Yeah, well, bots, or you can. I mean, anybody can get an email and come up with a phony name and work in somebody's front office and do it on their own. Say, you know what? I'm just going to shit on this promotion because I want my promotion to prosper. So bots. Shoot. Yeah, bots are true. And I understand that. I mean, I know that there are bots out there, but I sometimes I think that some people are legit. Like I said, look in the mirror, you're a piece of shit. Although you don't realize it now, look again. And,
now I do think some of those negative reviews are accurate. Like if they're on there criticizing your performance, like we have no reason to believe that that's not true. I mean, you're phoning it in every week. You're just stealing money being there.
Well, there we go. Come on back to me. Chicken. Chicken.
You ever whack it in a wrestling show?
No.
Like you got there early, you had a lot of time to kill. Maybe you had a little nervous energy. Maybe you had a good run in at the old makeup chair. You ever feel like, man, I got to go to my office, find a trash can, take care of business?
No.
Really?
Here we got some more guys running in. What the fuck?
Those are the dups. That's jacked up and bowed up and fucked up.
DUP?
DUPP.
So they just run in, and I don't think anybody really reacted to it, did they?
You don't like the dups?
Well, I don't think they got the pop that they wanted to get.
Well, they probably assumed, hey, the South, man, they're going to be with these guys in camouflage. It looks like they got a big chaw hanging out of their mouth.
Right. Come out of a deer blind. One
of these guys actually, went on to have quite a run in the WWF.
Really?
No,
who would that be?
One of them, ran off with Jerry Lawler's wife. And I was making an,
got it.
Shouldn't have. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it was a run.
It wasn't bad until you made me. You were just
hold on a second.
Oh, you better now?
Yeah.
Man, how about high-waisted Jones? You know where we are, in the era of just based on the high-waistedness. What do you think? Would you throw down a 20 spot for her?
No.
Really?
I don't do strip clubs.
No, I just mean if she said, hey, Mr. Schiavone, can I borrow $20?
Oh, yeah. I'd do that.
Sure.
I want
Not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules can't pass. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zig's a good looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chip. Tommy, you come over here.